and welcome to the Soul-Led Career Podcast. I'm your host, Marketa. I'm a career coach and a recruiter. On this podcast, I'm looking at a career in a rather unconventional way. Yes, I give out advice on strategies on LinkedIn, CV, and job interviews, but that is just the tip of the iceberg. As your coach, I am here to provide transformation and help you find your soul-led career. Not the right career, but a career that's right for you. So, are you ready? Let's dive right in. Hello, and welcome back to the new episode. It's Monday, April 4th right now. It's the morning, and when I woke up, I was thinking kind of like, I don't know. I was in such a flow this weekend, and I actually was working constantly. Not because I felt like I had to, not because I was like afraid that I will not have time for it during the week. But I realized that partially it was because during the week, I feel like I can be disturbed by the outside work, right? So suddenly I actually really saw myself appear in this beautiful, beautiful flow where ideas were just coming to me directly. I was downloading them right away, putting them in my camera. It's just, I was there. And suddenly it's Monday. I woke up and I was feeling a little bit of like, I don't know why I'm not really feeling so energized this day. Normally, I'm a morning person. I get up very quickly. I have no issues with that. And suddenly I was like, nah, I don't know what it is. And so, based on that, I actually was right away thinking of like, I'm going to ask all of you on Instagram, like, how do you honestly feel this Monday, right? Partially, it can be this kind of like conditioning that we all adopted about what Mondays mean, right? Going back to work, etc., the end of fun. And for me, the thing is that my life is honestly I'm so enjoying my life that there is no thing of like Mondays mean something bad. But I am still subconsciously conditioned to that. And so I first received this download from the universe of I'm gonna speak about that. And then when I was journaling, it actually downloaded in such bigger way, and that's what I would like to talk about right now. As you heard in the intro, I like to connect strategies together with the mindset and embodiment, the energetics. And I, career coaching is not only about getting a new job, getting to a next level, getting to the next stage. It's generally, for me at least, it's generally about being happy with your work, your career, whatever your career is. If you're employed, if you're freelance, or if you have your own business, in a way, the mindset behind it is very, very similar. It's about finding the happiness in what you do, finding the joy in what you do. And that's what we are going to discuss right now. It's interesting how when I am in a position of a recruiter and let's say I have an interview with someone, with a candidate. And so because they need to tell me their story in, let's say, few minutes, right? I need to understand their journey of why they left this job and why they went to this job, and etc. It's kind of like I managed to hear their story from a distance. And with that, you very clearly hear that some things are repeating again and again and again. There are certain people who leave the job for the work environment, or for their boss, or because they were not feeling fulfilled or challenged enough, and it keeps repeating. It's crazy how much it keeps repeating. And the craziest thing of all is that the people don't realize it. Very often they do not realize it because they do not manage to see it from the distance as I'm listening to it. Some people would realize it the moment they're saying it out loud, because very often you are living it, but you're not saying it out loud. Actually, you do not manage to take that step back and look at what you're saying. And I can tell you this firsthand because I do manage to see it with people who who would apply on the positions that I was offering, right? And then I had troubles sometimes with it myself. And especially, like, you get a hang of it as a recruiter. Let's say somebody applies to your position, and there's a thing. There's a thing like this. It's so mind blowing to me sometimes that the people apply for a position and they tell you that, I don't know, right now I'm gonna tell you an example of, they would tell you like, yeah, I always had like a super dominant boss, and I just cannot deal with that because they start to micromanage me, blah 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 blah, and then I just feel so stuck and I cannot keep going. That's why I left this job, and that's why I left the previous job, and that's why I left the previous job. And guess what? Without knowing it, subconsciously they manage to attract the job where I know their direct manager would be a person who micromanages. How crazy is that? Without knowing it, because very often the people, well, most of the time, because I was working for recruitment agencies, so the people don't see the company that they are applying for. The people don't know who their boss would be. And so it's so crazy how you really do attract what you feel like you are deserving, or what you feel like that's just the truth of how things are. So that's why this is such a deep work that you need to do with yourself. And as I already said, I can say these things firsthand. I was leaving jobs because I was frustrated. I was not leaving them out of inspiration to start something different. I was leaving them out of frustration. And even if I know that it's good that I left all of these jobs that I left, um, I if I would be in that position right now again, I would I would give myself an advice to first get in the stage where I'm happy, I feel inspired, and then I leave. I think it's good that I left all of them, right? It's more that the mindset with which I was leaving these jobs. Because that's the thing. Again, again, and again, and again, it is a mindset thing. It is not connected to that job, because then I brought this same mindset to my business, and then I took 1.5 years, and I'm still working on it to decondition myself to actually be able to run my business, because usually it's the same stuff. And then you also realize that you have the same things, the same conditioning in your relationships. It's everywhere, with your partner, with your friendships, with it's your relationships at work, your relationships with your clients. It is always the same. And once you manage to do it in a certain area, if you are aware, it can be easier to release it in all areas, but also not, because you might not be aware of it. So first you need to gain that awareness. So one thing that I would like to ask you as an exercise right now, it would be great to do it in a journaling form. I definitely have found out that I am a journaling person. I wasn't aware for a long time. But either do it in a journaling way, because it's great to see it really written down on a piece of paper, or if you want to say it out loud, but then it's great, again, if you can take a distance of it and listen to it, so maybe narrate it as a voice note to yourself or something like that. The idea is that you can come back to it and see it, right? Whether it would be the moment you write it down, the moment you say it out loud, or the next day when you come back to it and you can manage to see it or hear it. So what is it that frustrates you in your job or in your career, wherever you are in this stage, right? We're not going to be talking right now about partnerships, relationships, etc., even though then you can do the exercise for any category of your life. But really, if we look at your career right now, where you are in the stage where you are, what frustrates you? What doesn't feel like, abundant energies? What doesn't feel like place where you feel happy? And when I'm thinking of some examples, it really could be an example of micromanaging boss. It could be an example of this company does everything on low budget, and therefore I cannot do this and that. Or My colleagues are always gossiping and it just makes me feel horrible. I don't want to be in this environment. Or, whatever. Fill in the gap of what is your thought that frustrates you in your current stage. And how do you feel about that? Honestly, right now, me just saying these things, I feel so I feel so overwhelmed. I feel so overwhelmed. What I would say for me, very often these things where that I feel like the people around me are limiting me, and that I feel like I don't have space to do my work properly. I am not allowed to stand for my values the way how I really like to deliver my work, because I was always working kind of like on client-based projects, whether it would be client like a company that I would be serving, or then clients as candidates, right? Um, so that definitely was so much my thing. And then also I just cannot do micromanaging. I always feel like the people have too much control over me, and not in a way that I'm trying to hide something, for sure not, but in a way that I feel like I cannot breathe. I feel like someone is constantly behind my back, looking over my shoulder, and doesn't want to. I cannot just work freely. I cannot actually deliver the work I want to deliver. So, actually, now when I'm saying it out loud, for me, it always comes to I have certain values with which I want to deliver my work. And if I feel like I'm being controlled, I don't have the space to properly do my work, I just cannot do that. So in the long run, this doesn't work with me. Whew. What is it from for you? What is it? Think about it and just honestly right now, just feel it through and try to let go of it. It is not easy. It is not easy. And especially when you see that is a thing that no matter where you work, you always manage to have the same type of boss. You always do out of nowhere, even though you didn't see it coming before from the job interviews. You suddenly are in the same work environment. I feel like there's some more things in fault, let's say. I don't really want to put a blame on it, but let's say that there's more things, more aspects in fault. One thing, and that I feel like, again, it goes across relationships. We do see the red flags at the beginning, but we decide not to see them. But then, if you really, really look back, again, look across the areas work, job, relationships, whatever it was, friendships. Most of the time, the things that annoy you in the long run are things that you did somehow see at the beginning, but you were thinking that some things are just more important. You were like, not right now. I don't care. I don't care. I choose not to see it. Are you there with me? For me, that definitely was a thing. Um, Sometimes, especially sometimes when it is a trigger that you are just triggered about that, but you're not sure where it's coming from, right? And it can be a thing that is a certain trigger that comes from our childhood or from just any life experience that we've been through. So for me, looking back, the thing that I know I would have done differently right now is what I'm going to tell you. Because, again, starting my own business was not the freedom I expected it to be. Because I still was in a jail of my own mindset. Yeah, let that land. That is the thing. The opportunities, the people, all of it that you attract, the jobs you attract, is based on your mindset, is based on your connection to where you think that you are. So, no, the new job is not going to fix it. The new boss is not going to fix it. You need to fix it first. It's a hard pill to swallow. It definitely is. And it's definitely a deep work that you need to do with yourself. It will take as long as you will make it take, honestly. Sometimes it can be super, super easy and quick. It's just a mindset shift. But you are the only one who allows yourself to do that. You are the only one who can give yourself permission to do that switch, to do that change. And from speaking from my experience, definitely sometimes I would understand it on a, let's say, brain level or on the conscious level, but I didn't allow myself it fully to understand it on the subconscious level, on the deep level, on the mindset level, on the heart level. And it's all just embodiment. It's all just constantly putting it in, putting the work in. And now I don't mean it in a hustle way. I really mean it in a, you choose it. It's your choice. Every day, let it be your choice. The moment you realize that you have been putting this on yourself, you can be feeling scared, you can be feeling angry, you can start feeling like you want to justify what was happening. And all of these are emotions that are normal to feel. So if you need to just feel them through and then let them go, and close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, breathe in, breathe out, and just repeat after me. I love and fully accept myself. Even though I've been going through these emotions, even though I've been feeling angry, frustrated, or scared, no matter what, I love and fully accept myself. Sometimes just that can really be a thing that you need, that will let it go. And anytime you feel this way, whether it would be in your current reality, in your current job, just try to do this. Sometimes really it's not the easiest thing sometimes, because you might feel so much deep in your frustration, but it's actually a thing that can really bring you the instant relief and really feel it through. Because even if you might feel that your boss is the boss that is at fault, your colleague is someone who just frustrates you so much, it's their fault. You cannot influence what they will do, how they will feel, how they will respond to what you say. You can only influence how you feel. You can only influence your mindset. You can only influence how you react to your reality. You can choose to respond to their action in anger, or you can just accept what they said, what they did, and let it not influence you. And I am very, very aware that this is way easier said than done. It definitely requires practice. It's not a thing that suddenly changes. Usually, it can happen, but most of the time, it's not a thing that changes within a second and then forever it's changed. But even with that, I don't want to condition you. I don't want to condition you with that. If it's a thing that suddenly you're just going to gain awareness with what I'm telling you right now, and suddenly with your awareness is going to change forever, amazing. Like I applaud you for that. I definitely, from my side, had a lot of like childhood trauma and inner stuff I had to work through to be able to get more and more in that stage. And I still cannot say that I'm always in that, but especially in the last few months, I've generally have felt so happy and fulfilled in my life. And honestly, I'm only thinking like, I wish I started earlier. But even with that, again, that's another conditioning. Even with that, I'm just like, no, I love and fully accept myself. I love and fully accept my journey because it has led me where I am. So after you feel like you could let this go, let's make another exercise. Again, if you want, if you can, if you feel called to it, journal about that. Journal about that. Let's do this embodiment practice. My question for you to journal on would be, in a perfect day scenario, how would you want your workday to look like? Really write it down to the most detailed part about what is the first thing that you do in the morning? How is your morning routine like? Do you wanna just take a cup of coffee and look out of window and just take the 5 minutes for yourself with your coffee, totally undisturbed, just taking some deep breaths before you start anything? Is it that you want to dress a certain way? Do you want to go on a walk? How do you choose your morning to look? And with this in mind, write down a whole day what it looks like. What is your work environment? How is the relationships you have with your colleagues? What are the amazing things that you get to do, get to create in your day? What are your amazing customers like? Your clients like? What are generally the relationships that you're having, that you're interacting with in your day to day? How do you feel about all of this? How do you carry yourself through the day? What is the thing that you're eating? Write all of this down, feel it through. Feel it, feel it, feel it as you're writing it down with your pen on that paper. Take your time, close your eyes, imagine that, visualize that. What does it look like? Take that exercise in and already right now feel the energetic shift that you're going through. What is the energy difference between the first stage when you were talking about your frustration and what is your energy level right now? How do you feel? And which one of these energy levels do you want to be your day to day? Now with this, when you know who you were as what was your day like in this perfect scenario? Another exercise I want you to do, and I know, this is a lot of exercises. You totally don't have to do them all right now at once. If you want to take your time, amazing. If you feel like you're in that flow, but you can definitely do it as if you meditate, or just early in the morning when you're undisturbed, or if you're more like an evening person, whatever feels right to you and whatever feels in flow for you. When you manage to have undisturbed time, maybe one day doing one, another day doing the other one, just to get in that flow of what it's like to understand your frequency, what it's like to understand your energy and where you are, and just not being a victim to it. You got it? Okay, okay. Let's move on to the next day, what we are going to do. So put yourself again energetically in that stage of what was a perfect day. And from that, this new exercise is going to be about, let's write down who you were as a person. Who were you as a person? How were you reacting to things? And if you want your day to be in such flow, even if you're met with a challenge, with a problem, with an angry colleague, whatever it is, how do you decide to respond on that? What is it going to feel like? What is it going to be like? Feel it through, write it down. How do you feel in your body? How do you feel rested? Because all of these things, they're like, hey, it's not work. All of these things are influencing the way how you feel through your day. I love my CV templates. I love to work on LinkedIn optimization, but being happy and fulfilled in your career is so much deeper than that. So much. Whew, I'm feeling that through with you. I'm there with you. And this is an embodiment exercise I'm often doing, like so often. Whatever is the challenge that I'm facing, I am doing these exercises. And sometimes what then gets to be, if you get to recognize this person, sometimes it feels like this person is so far from where you are, and especially in certain situations, because I hear you. I remember so much what it was like when I was just so down. I really feel like I was just hitting rock bottom, at one of my jobs. I'm not gonna name the job, I'm not gonna name the company. I was just so low, so frustrated, and I didn't see my way out. My only way out I saw of quitting the job. And right now, I just wish I had access to things like that, where I would just embody a different version of me, to show up in the job differently. Because I know that if I started to first feel fulfilled in that job, things would change, first of all. Suddenly, maybe certain people would start responding to you differently. And also, I for sure would leave the job eventually, but I would leave it with different stage of mind, and I would start my new job with different stage of mind. So the way how we are going to continue this exercise is that once you realize who that version of you is, you have a full description. If you feel like this person is too far from where you are right now, think of it as a costume. Think of this as a role that you're playing. Think of that like that. It's a role that you're playing. It's a character. If you feel like you need to give that character a name that is not you, whether it would be even like a Superwoman, Superman, whatever is going to help you do that. And in the morning, tomorrow, or even today during the day, feel like you're putting, like visually imagine that, because you already know even what the person is wearing. Imagine that you put that costume on. And when you walk out of your house or when you open that laptop, you are in that costume. And whenever a certain challenge would come, just take a second before you respond. Don't try not to respond automatically to how you feel like you're conditioned or how you're used to. Just take a second, and before you respond, whether it's with your words, with your action, whatever way it is, think of how would this person respond? How would this character respond? How would I in my costume respond? And then respond. This is gonna make a crazy shift, honestly, in your relationships, in your work environment. It's gonna make such crazy shift. And honestly, I can't even express how I feel right now and how grateful I am that I get to provide this to someone else, because this for me has been a life changer, an absolute life changer. And I swear to you, from this place, you're gonna make such major shifts. Like just by practicing of shifting your energy in the morning, it's gonna set you up for the day. And it might actually not be easy at first because, right, we still feel the influence of the outside world. We are individuals, and honestly, I always choose to live in my bubble because I just don't want to be influenced by other people, by other people's opinion, by other people's mindset. That's not me. That doesn't represent who I am and what I stand for. But it's a journey. It definitely was a long, big journey to get here. And it's always going to be a continuous journey. I choose the people I surround myself with. I choose the exchanges I'm going to get. I choose not to gossip. I choose not to be part of certain conversation. And it doesn't mean that you need to suddenly get up and leave the room. It means that you just choose not to adopt that conversation and not to feel it in your body. You can always step out from where you are. And this really can be a powerful, powerful transformation for you, especially if you're gonna keep this embodiment practice every day. Just drawing the vision of who is the person you want to be, how do you want to go through life, and then every single time you are met with a challenge, whether, this really can be used everywhere. This can be used in your diet, whether in a moment where you decide, if you're gonna decide to choose a healthy option, or you're gonna choose a burger option, right? Like, it's with all of these things where you decide, like, who is the me that I decided to be? How do they make decisions? And sometimes, because at the beginning of this episode, I said the thing of, it is all me, it is all you, right? It's your choice. It's your choice to have these beliefs. It's your choice to react this way. It's your choice that you are in this job. So it can feel very overwhelming. And there can be a very empowering part of it of, so I get to change that. But especially if you are in a place where you feel like really, really lost, it can be so overwhelming that many people, even if they would subconsciously understand that this is the truth, on a conscious level, they decide for this not to be their truth, because it suddenly feels like you have too much responsibility and you cannot handle that. And if you decide to be a victim of that situation, it's almost like handed that responsibility to someone else, to your boss, to your partner, to your mother, whatever it is. That's why sometimes I feel like doing this embodiment practice in a way that, yeah, you embody who is the version, but then sometimes when you're in a situation, you kind of feel of it as a costume. It's almost like it's not you. You let the character do the job. You let the character make the choice. You let the character have the responsibility. It can feel for a while very, very empowering and very good. Woof. And let me know how you feel after that. Like right now, honestly, I'm getting chills. I'm super excited for the shifts that this can do in your life. Please, please, please send me a DM on Instagram, or about how you felt after this. How do you feel? Seriously. I really want to know. You can find me at Life of Marketa, and definitely I'm going to leave my handle in the show notes. And let me know. Do you feel relieved? Do you feel confused? Do you have any more questions? Is there maybe something that I should have touched on that I didn't? Let me know. I will be so happy to continue this conversation in the DMs. And until next time, have a great one.